Hi, this is Ushio, and this is my 6th anniversary video for the channel existing. That's quite a long time to be working on any kind of long-term project. So 6 years of making gameplays, having a good time, and just, yeah, having fun. So thanks very much for the 6 years first up. And I didn't know what to do to celebrate the 6 years, so I asked you to ask me. Hopefully I can answer a couple of questions that you were kind of curious about. So let's get into it. My notes are down here, so I'm going to have to look down here if I want to read. So first up, we have got, so two people kind of asked a similar question. We got Akele and Legion, and they asked, what first inspired you to start your YouTube channel? And basically, I kind of reached a point in my life where I'm kind of like, am I wasting time playing video games? Am I wasting my life away? And then I go on YouTube and I see other people playing video games and I'm like, oh, okay, I can still keep playing games and I can be productive at the same time. I can join these people. So I just see what other people were doing and I kind of jumped on board with that. So there wasn't any like big and deep and meaningful reason to do it, and it wasn't like, oh, maybe I can get YouTube famous and get lots of money. That wasn't the reason why I did it. I just wanted to keep playing video games, but in a way that framed it in my mindset that I'm not wasting my life away. I'm still doing something that other people might enjoy or that might help me out in the future by, like, you know, you learn some skills, you learn how to like edit videos a little bit, you learn how to be a better speaker perhaps, and yeah, you kind of get an eye for how these things can work. And with that, I do feel like I am enjoying making these videos and it is a worthwhile thing to do, even if obviously I'm not the biggest channel, but I still find it worthwhile and I still keep enjoying it. Part of that question, it also says, do you think you'll be doing this for another 6 years, or do you think you'll move on to doing something else in the long term? It's difficult to say. I've got no plans to change anything for the time being, but before I did YouTube, I did used to make self-published comics. I did that for about 7 years, so if I'm doing 7 years again, I've only got 1 more year to do YouTube, but I don't think it's going to be like that. I think I'm going to keep on going. But obviously, if an opportunity shows up, someone throws $10 million at me, I'm probably going to have to prioritise that. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I guess I'm going to stick around for a bit more and we'll keep doing what we can. Occasionally, I do like to do something a little bit different. You can probably tell that I'm a bit on the creative side. So like, I make my own costumes, I do the own artwork. So every now and then I will get an itch to do like a different kind of project. But if I can apply it in tandem with the channel, then I'll do that as well. Or sometimes I'll just disappear for a bit. But I'll make sure the gameplay is still steadily uploading. Alright, Draco the Mighty asks, what led you to play Angels with Scaly Wings? And how would you describe your passion for dragons? Okay, so first up, this is not my first YouTube channel. I do have another channel, and if you look in the history of that, you can see that it's like an anime manga themed channel. And as I started to, I don't know, I wanted to diversify a bit, and I started to play video games over there, and they're all like oddball indie games. So that's like the original origins of the kind of gameplays that I used to make. And because there wasn't much crossover between the anime stuff and the gaming stuff, I made the dedicated gaming channel, which is where we are today. And so that's how I kind of got into Angels with Scaly Wings. I was playing games that on the superficial level, they looked a bit unusual, they looked a little bit different. Sometimes they were like meme games, sometimes they were funny games, and I would just kind of like, what looks good, what looks weird. And on the surface of it, a dragon dating game is a bit on the unusual side. So I kind of played it, but I stuck with it because I try to have an open mind when I play games like this. And if the game is good and it has its own legitimate features, I'm not going to play that in bad faith. I'm going to take it on and I'm going to do what I can to serve it in its best light that benefits the game. And so that is what I did. And there was an audience reaction, and it's kind of led to where we are now. So in terms of how I see dragons, I wasn't like a super dragon fan beforehand. Like, obviously everyone likes dragons. Big giant lizards that breathe fire and destroy stuff, it's always cool. But Angels with Scaly Wings kind of introduced me to it and the fandom. So what I have learned in terms of appreciation for dragons is from the audience, is from you guys. And that's how it's developed. And I've done like a couple of Dragon Month seasons. I ended up developing like this design in like respect for what my audience seems to like. And I don't mind. I think it's quite fun. And if I can lean into something that people enjoy, then why not? I've got no reason to say no to that. So yeah, dragons are cool, man. Icy Catcher asks, just saw the whole Angels of Scaly playlist, and I was smashed by a question. Any favourite dragon from this game? Everybody's got a favourite dragon, and I always joke that Damien is my favourite character. If there was ever like a big budget live action Angels of Scaly Wings thing, please put me in a Damien costume and just kill me off, because it would be really funny to have a role like that, just to be a complete asshole everybody hates and just get wiped out about a third into the film. That would be super fun. But no, Damien, yeah, it's obviously not a favourite character. I quite like Sebastian because he's slightly outside of the central interest. So you got the main five, and there's, everyone can pick their favourite. But I quite like Sebastian because he's consistently around throughout the whole game, but he's not directly involved with you. So he's just kind of that cool guy who just shows up and helps you out every now and then. And he's kind of like a nice character. That's my reason for liking Sebastian. Okay, Akade gets in here and they say, if it's not Bryce or Remy, please explain, because they are clearly the best of all the dragons. Alright, so a while ago I did do like a poll on the channel, and the public voted. Adine was the #1 dragon on that vote, so everybody's got a favourite. It's quite a controversial topic once people start disagreeing on what that's about. All the dragons are good. They've all got their different points, what make them interesting to hang out with. But I don't want to start a fan war, so we're going to move away from Angels of Scaly Wings now. Okay, John the Furry Dragon asks, what is your favourite video games? Minecraft, Roblox, Angels of Scaly Wings, etc. I like your costume, not gonna lie. Alright, thanks very much for liking the costume. Hopefully it's a bit janky, and hopefully it will not fall apart within the next couple of years, because it would be really difficult to make this again. This is kind of like a one-off, and it was built very like naturally. The way it was built, there wasn't like a method to it. It would be very hard to recreate. In terms of favourite video game, you can't just pick one, can you? I really like Guitar Man. It's an old music game on the PlayStation 2. It's very unique. It never had a sequel. It never got a re-release, unless you count the PSP version. I have played it on the channel several years ago. But it's one of these games that there's nothing else quite like it. The gameplay is nothing else quite like it either. And I really like it. It's got its own little cult following. People still really think back on it fondly. And it's still quite underappreciated. So maybe one day there'll be like a remaster or a re-release. But I think I'm going to stick with that one for now. Okay, Michael Wong asks, there are a few genres that you've never really touched, like turn-based or real-time strategy games in particular. Is there a reason as to why? Sort of. Back in the day, I'm a console gamer. That's my background, and that's the kind of games that I'm so used to. So a lot of like real-time strategy games are kind of like, they're like PC centric. So I only really started playing PC games as I started the channel. And because I'm not as familiar with those kinds of games, I don't really know how to play them super well, or in a way that I feel that I could present properly on a gameplay. It goes for other games as well. So I don't really play sports games, for example. I don't really play like racing games. So that there are other examples as well. So I'm fairly like platformers, casual RPGs, not hardcore RPGs, nothing super long that's going to take way too much time. Narrative focus seems to be my typical approach, but anything that's like odd, different, got a different creative like approach in how it likes to do stuff, that kind of catches my eye. So it's nothing personal. I just don't think I can do a good job playing in these games, and I'm not that familiar with like the tropes of those kinds of genres, so I would struggle. I don't think the videos would be very good. Alright, Natos asks, what game that you played was the most difficult for you? I'm going to stick to stuff I played on the channel. It's probably, the easy answer would be Cuphead. So Cuphead is quite a difficult game. It just takes a bit of practice. It's not so bad. It just takes a bit of practice, and you need to accept that you are going to die a few times, and the practice will just help you get better in time. So that's probably the easiest one that most people recognise is quite a hard game. But probably the hardest game is really early on. I played some like retro games, and it was like the 2D fighter games. Some of those I found really difficult. So the original, the very first Guilty Gear game is brutal. That final boss is really, really tough. Slightly unfair, and the only way to beat it is just to kind of, you got to choose the mechanics, and it also has like an instant kill move, so you just got to get lucky. You just got to get lucky. Also, the final boss for the original Samurai Shodown game, ridiculous. But I did it. I think they're still on the channel. I don't think I deleted them. They don't get many views, but yeah, really, really tough. Okay, let's do some quick fire stuff. We've got some short questions that are only going to have short answers. We have got Big Sneedus asks, have you ever watched King of the Hill? Yes, I have. Bobby is fine. Leave him alone. And obviously Boomhauer is the best character in the show. Crinix the Dragon asks, it's my birthday as well as my Fasona's birthday. It's also coming up next month. Do you think I could get a happy birthday shout out in your videos in August? Not for August, you're getting it now. Happy birthday, dude. And anybody who's having a birthday deserves as good a day as they can get. But yeah, happy birthday, Crinix. I hope you have a good one. I hope that's fine. Ice Emblem asks, how tall am I? How tall are you? Okay, I don't know exactly how tall I am, so I'm going to make it complicated. I'm taller than 6 foot, but I'm shorter than 2 meters. Big Sneedus again asks, what kind of car do you have? I don't have a car. Zeno Studio asks, what's your favourite visual novel? Probably not what you're going to expect. It's quite a mainstream, obvious pick. I really like the Ace Attorney games. They're kind of what introduced me to the genre. And they got fun stories, they got fun characters, and because they're quite long, you really get to know the characters and get involved, and they're funny as well. And the plot twists are cool. And yeah, the original trilogy is really good, and I quite like the second trilogy as well. SPCY Run, is that Spicy Run? Asks, it might be a little bit personal, but how do you deal with negativity or other opinions? Tricky question, sort of, but it kind of boils down to what is the intention of the opinion or negativity. If they're just trying to drag you down, whatever, don't listen to them. Whereas if it's like constructive or it's for your benefit or in your interests, if they're on your side, basically. So some random stranger in the street, you don't know them, and they don't know you. So whatever they say isn't that important. Whereas if it's like, say, like a regular person that you know, might be like a family member or a friend, or in terms of YouTube channel, it might be someone who posts frequently and you've come to get to know, to trust their opinion. If their opinion's like, oh, maybe you want to do things in a slightly different way, or this way didn't quite make sense for me, maybe listen a bit more. But yeah, ignore people you don't know or have no interest in like developing you, and listen to the people that want the best for you. Bob the Larry asks, the funniest thing you've seen in a game or a movie? Very hard. The most, I'm not sure. It's probably just good to recommend something that will brighten your day, perhaps. So I quite like the old style martial arts movies. So if you go look up some old Jackie Chan from the 1980s, like your Project A, City Hunter's quite good, and they're really funny, but at the same time they're incredibly creative. So I think comedy gets a bit of a raw deal in movies. People don't really take it seriously, but something that, like what Jackie Chan was doing with the stunts and the action, no special effects, it's just like wire work and like real stunts, and you can be funny and you can be awe-inspiring at the same time. So it's just a great time. You're kind of like slack-jawed as, oh, he really jumped off that building, no sweat. And yeah, so I just recommend, just go watch some really good 1980s Jackie Chan movies. Draco the Mighty asks, what's the best form of entertainment of media for you? And what's the best work you've seen so far? Ooh, okay, so you've probably kind of gathered from how I do stuff. I'm a big manga fan, so manga's kind of like my preference. That's like my super duper thing. I've got a bit of a romanticized viewpoint on how I think manga is developed. So it's not like, you know, obviously it's all like editors and all demographics and all that kind of stuff. But in my mind, it's one creator's vision. So they can kind of do whatever they want, and then they can express it however they want. So that's kind of how I kind of perceive manga. In terms of favourite, I've got a few. Slam Dunk here is a really good basketball manga. I totally recommend it. But you got something like, I don't know, Osamu Tezuka's Phoenix is really good. Then you got like Shoujo Classic, like Fruits Basket's an easy one. The anime is quite easy to get to, but I always tend to prefer like the original work. So that's why manga is kind of my thing as well. I really like manga. Bob the Larry asks, what is something that fascinates you to no end? It's not a particular thing. It's kind of like everything in a way. So long as you're showing interest in the world around you. So, I don't know, maybe you're going on a day out and like you're not really into it. It'll be about, I don't know, boats or something. But there's something interesting in everything. It's just about how you want to go about it, and that can like make your day or inform you for future times. So even if you don't care about the mechanics of a boat, you might like the design of the boat, or you might like how the emblems, like the artwork on the side of it or something. So even if you're like not a scientific person or you're not an artistic person, there's always a different way that you can be interested in something. So it's quite a nice, I like to think that that's quite a nice way to go about things. Otherwise you're just going to be miserable. So try and look for things that interest you, even if originally you might not have been into it. You might find something that's like, oh, that's actually quite cool. Kind of going back to the whole manga thing, and I used to draw comics a little bit, self-publishing and that kind of thing. Like, say you want to make like a comic in a manga type of style, but the only way you can think that you can do that is because of reading these how to draw manga things. I mean, they got their points and they got their uses, but you also need to know human anatomy. You need to know architecture for your backgrounds. You need to know what the clouds look like. You know, every little thing. So just be interested in stuff, and you'll find things that will kind of be a bit more fulfilling. Gary asks, who's your favourite rogue, Vicky or Kit? So, spoilers, Gary is rogue. This is the same person. So, if you see my videos, especially my multiplayer videos, I play with some friends, and it's kind of like a few different people who come in and out of those videos. I'm not going to pick a favourite friend. It's like, ask your parent who's their favourite child. You can't do that. But I'm really grateful to all of them. I don't know what they get out of helping me with my recordings. I just kind of like, I read social times, like, oh, can I record this? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I really appreciate them giving up their free time or sacrificing their free time to be displayed for the world to see. But yeah, it's a bit awkward and I value them all very much. So sorry, I'm not going to pick one. Okay, Nakadora29 says, personally I started watching your channel since the very first few Angel Scaling's episodes you've released. Thanks, cool. I've got to say, I do appreciate a pretty chill YouTuber to watch these days. Nice. So, yeah, I'll try and be chill. I haven't got the energy for it. I just, I can't do the hyperactive thing. No, I want to relax and I want to enjoy making my videos slowly. I haven't got the energy to be, like, engaging people in that way. Slow is my way. And they've asked, what's your favourite Fortnite dance? I'm sorry. I haven't got a lot of room here. I will smack into a wall. If I'm not too careful. I have played Fortnite, but I'm the kind of Fortnite player who never builds. So I just run around and shoot people like a regular FPS. So I'm not the best person to be asking for Fortnite stuff. But there is, what's this one? This one's kind of cool. It's easy to do, and it doesn't take up too much space. I'm not going to knock anybody out with like a loose limb as I flail around. So I think this is my choice. This is my Fortnite dance. Rubbish Nate Dog asks, any chance of playing games such as DST, which I think is Don't Starve Together, or a genre similar to that? If so, would you do it with friends or fans? So when I do play games with my friends, I can't, unless I'm going to buy the game for everybody, I can't tell them how to spend their money. So it's kind of like I have to read the room and what are people in the mood for. So I think Don't Starve Together is the kind of game that we probably would enjoy, but it's just not happened for whatever reason. There's no like real reason for that. In terms of interacting with fans, I don't think I've really got a good setup for streaming, for example, so I think it would be quite difficult to do. So I'm kind of limited to that. Also, because I'm used to playing with my friends online, that's kind of where my confidence lies. I'm not very good at playing with people that I've never met before, because it's just not, I've never played games that way. So I don't really know like the etiquette or how to get to know people through online. So I'm kind of old-fashioned in that way. Slowhand asks, what kind of music do you like? Would you play the flute again? Okay, 2 questions there. So what kind of music do I like? I'm the kind of person that says I like all kinds of music, and honestly, that's the worst kind of person. That's the worst kind of answer to give as well. Okay, I kind of like jump around. I'm super casual. I won't be like, oh, I like this band or I like this band. I'm the kind of casual who likes, I like 2 songs from that band, maybe 3 songs from that band, maybe that person's number 1, and that's that kind of thing. But when I do like my drawing, for example, I do like to have some background stuff on, and it's normally like video game music, anime music, and a lot of EDM, like random dance tracks, just all kinds of stuff. So you get like, you know, hard bass stuff, and you'll get like happy hardcore or anything like that. Just something that's kind of like bouncing away in the background, and it helps me like focus and concentrate on my drawing while having a little bit of atmosphere going on at the same time. Would you play your flute again? Okay, so this is a reference to my other channel, my anime themed channel, where I did play a couple of Studio Ghibli movie themes on the flute. So I do have a background playing the flute, and it is in the background. It's not a thing I do currently, so I've kind of lost practice and I don't know how to do it anymore. So I've got muscle memory, so I can still find the notes and the keys sometimes, but it is tricky because I don't like bothering people. So if I'm practicing my flute, I'm kind of bothering the neighbours, and I don't really want to do that. I haven't got a practice studio or anything like that, so I find it a little bit hard to get back into playing the flute. I still got my flute. I've never tried it. So it'll be like. So I wouldn't say it's impossible. But it needs to be a very specific circumstance for it to happen again. Bob the Larry asks, what's the most emotion you felt from a game? Probably on the channel. When I'm playing Drawful with my friends, I was crying from laughter. I don't think too many watched it, and I don't think it really comes across just how much I was weeping. But when you're struggling to breathe and you got like tears coming down your face, I think that's a pretty extreme emotion. So maybe some stuff was said off camera, out of the recording, that might have made it a bit more. So maybe it doesn't come across so well in that video, but I think that's probably the strongest example of that. Okay, Sainginth Renganalti asks, what's your favourite video game that's unlikely to make it onto the channel as a playthrough? Probably like a really big, huge game. So if I'm playing a game, it's kind of like a commitment. This is going to take, say it's going to be like 10 videos. That's 1 or 2 months worth of content. And if it's a game that isn't going to get that many views in a practical sense, part 1 always gets the most views, as does the final part. They're the 2 parts that get the most views in terms of maintaining a channel. Everything else kind of sinks. So if you've got videos that are making 6 views per video, it's kind of demotivating, and it kind of affects how your channel's working. So I'm really hesitant to invest in a really big game, because personally, if no one's watching it, I'm not going to have a good time, because I'm just like, I might as well just play this privately, you know, as opposed to going to the effort to making the artwork, doing the editing, and no one's going to watch it. So I'm really hesitant to play really, really long games. So I'd really like to play something like Okami. I'd really like to play that on the channel sometime. Maybe I will, and there'll be like big 1-hour episodes or something like that, but even then it's still going to take like 50 episodes to get through. There are some games that I think are more suited to like streaming, for example, as opposed to like shorter YouTube videos. And because I'm not really cut out for streaming currently with my setup, I'd quite like to, but it's not currently where I'm at. So yeah, something like Okami will probably be better on streaming. I can just play it and I can chat to people in the chat, you know, in a bit more casual, informal kind of way. Whereas with the gameplay, it's a bit more, I don't know how I can fill that much time without having some kind of external interaction. So yeah, if I ever do live streaming, Okami will probably be quite high up the list, but otherwise I'm not sure. Okay, Draco the Mighty mentioned maybe I should play Changed. This is not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So if you don't know Changed, it's kind of like a strange, furry-centric kind of game where if you get captured by like, is it latex oil monsters or something? I don't know. They kind of like envelop the characters, and it's a thing. But it's not a thing that I want to engage with, and it's not a thing I particularly think would suit how I go about my channel. Because if I'm getting in touch with a company saying, oh, you got a really cool game coming out, would you consider perhaps sending me a key so I can get early access to it? Here's a link to my channel, and it's covered in something like Changed, or some kind of like crazy, explicit, or strange, oddball game. I'm going to scare people away. So I want to get the best of both worlds. I want everybody coming to watch my channel. I want it to be like a happy place that basically anyone can enjoy. Unless they're unhappy with people that swear, then I'm sorry, I can't change the swearing. I'll just do it too much. Okay, the final set of questions come from Tiger's Tail. Okay, so how did Ushio come to be? As in the character. So Ushio's it's not really a character. It's just I'm just a random dude who plays games. So sometimes when you see someone in like a costume like this, people are just like, oh, it's like a persona, it's like a character. It's not really like that for me. I'm just a guy wearing a costume because I'm camera shy, and I can be slightly more confident if I'm wearing something like this, as I'm not super comfortable being in front of a camera any other way, because I'm just camera shy, you know. So I don't really want to shove my face everywhere. I would rather express myself through things that I've made and through my creativity, and that's the thing that I would rather promote. Okay, they also ask, would you try your hand at games like Kirby and the Forgotten World or 2D Metroid series? Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion, and Metroid Dread. And if not, okay, let's go into that first. So, I don't have anything against those kinds of games, but there's a couple of reasons. Some of it's technical. Basically, my Elgato kind of blown up. So I can't really do console games so easily unless I get new equipment or hope that my Elgato won't explode again. So last time I did it was the Spyro game quite a long time ago, and it was losing frames and it was glitching out, and I'm kind of worried that I can't use that anymore. So I kind of keep away from console gaming for the time being. Also, I'm aware that Nintendo is a little bit strict, and they can be a bit oversensitive in reacting to how people play their games, so I'm a little bit scared. And I'm a little bit hesitant to try their stuff. But the games are obviously really good, and they would be a lot of fun to play. So I would just want to do it in the correct way that everybody would be happy with before I would engage with that. Other question, do you have more horror games in store? Yes I do. So quite regularly I do the multiplayer games with my friends, and there are, you know, they're mostly like run around a haunted house and escape the monster kind of games. There's a still oncoming. Couple of new games, couple of old games, but very much in that genre. And there's also one other horror game en route that's a single player game that I'm going to be playing on my own. I don't really like proper horror games. I don't like the sensation of being scared. Yeah, I find it unpleasant as opposed to like a thrill, because some people enjoy it. I personally, not so much. It's not really my kind of thing, which is why I kind of keep away from them. But yeah, I've got a pixel horror game coming up. And it's not super long, but it'll be up within the next month or so. But it's already completed, it's already edited. It's just a case of fitting it into the schedule. So yes, there will be a horror game coming. And final question, can you breathe fire? Well, am I a dragon? I suppose I can, but I am covered in fur. So if I do blow fire, I'm going to also burn my face off. So I'm going to say yes, I can breathe fire. But also, I don't want to die. So it's not going to happen. And that is it. That's all the questions that I got, and I hope I answered them all, hopefully, as that satisfies what you're asking. But yeah, thank you very much for 6 years. I know a lot of you joined over time. Some of you are very long term, some of you are recent. Everybody is welcome. And I will try and keep more stuff coming in the near future. But thank you very much for 6 years. Thank you very much for watching this video. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed seeing me talk some random stuff. Thank you for the questions, and thank you for engaging with all of it. And this is Ushio signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.